Already tour of the new garage. Yep, it is that small, so that's the tour over, and we're back onto the Model 8. We did the chassis in the first couple of videos, where mainly I kind of showed you a little bit and talked to you quite a lot. I don't want to do that this time. I kind of want to show you more video of what I'm actually doing, so people can see kind of the work that goes into this sort of stuff. Floor pans have been ripped out. I've got to take the back one out, and it's because the idiot that's done all the welding on this car, and I'll show you some of the welding, like this and this down here. So yeah, basically all the welding that's been done up here, the same moron has done all the flooring. Nah, not happening with me. It's just fucking coming out and new steel's going in. And I've got mad OCD, so it needs to be right. And then you've got a good foundation to work on everything else, because there's so much more work that needs to go in this cab. It's unbelievable. But yeah, let's crack on. And I'm going to start fabbing up some floor rails. Very nice. Very, very nice. Right, so I'm going to curve cut these, which means I'm going to cut down here, down one side, down there, and then I'm going to bend the steel, and I may need to just keep taking a little bit more steel out. Once I've got the curve I want in this bit of steel, I'm going to TIG weld it back up. That's the plan. Whether it works or not is yet to be seen. Time for some swimming. Oh yeah. Plan is to remove a little bit of material from here, back down into kind of the cut again, and the same on the other side. So basically you're removing a bit of material like that, and then that should allow me to get a nice little angle on there. So we're going to do a little bit at a time, take it back to the car, just make sure that we get the right angle. We don't want to kind of overdo it. If you do overdo it, it's kind of thin enough to MIG weld it together anyway, with the gap. But to be honest, I'd rather TIG weld it because I want all this nice and smooth when it's done. So yeah, I'm going to chop a little bit and we're going to see how it fits. get some clamps on it. Right, so I'm going to leave that to cool. I'm not going to take any of the clamps off, just stop it from twisting or pulling. And then as soon as that's done, I'm going to double check it in the car. And if it's perfect and hasn't moved, I'm then going to weld it up. So, moment of truth, does it fit? Yep. Well, I would say that is a success. So, basically what I need to do is there needs to be two kind of holes on a weird angle there to pick up for the front mounting point of the cab. So that's why obviously this isn't following all the way to this, because I need to pick up these mounting points and I want to do it through this piece of steel. So the next step is to basically weld this one up and do exactly the same with the other one. So I've got my two kind of main side rails. So I'm going to make the bosses that are going to go through this pretty much like I did on the chassis. So there's bosses that are going to be welded into that like steel section, and that means I can drop a bolt through and it'll act as like a crush tube. Now my parting tool's knackered on my kiddie lathe, so annoyingly I've had to just mark it to the point where it would kind of stop and then move on to the next one. And I'm going to finish it off with the angle grinder. However, I've got a bit of grinding to do at 2 and I've got some swimming to do at 3 o'clock, hence why I've got these goggles. Oh, a bit of vacuum. Tasty. So I squared up the bottoms of these kind of crush tubes, only just one side, just simply because when I'm going to weld it, I can just chuck them on the bench and they're perfectly straight. So those are going to be put to one side for now, but I've had to kind of get onto this section to make the holes for these to actually go through so I can weld them. Now, I've done some pilot holes, I've checked it in the car, made sure it lines up with the bolts because the bolts are offset in the vehicle, which they do. So it's a case of a low speed, some cutting oil on here, and just going to slowly just cut out the holes. I'm going to do this side, flip it over, do the other side. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got 8 holes to cut. So let's get to it. So these bits are done. I've gone around with a grinder just to put a chamfer on them just so I can get a better weld, but basically they drop straight through there, nice and flat, and we're going to basically TIG weld all the way around. I'm going to obviously spot weld it first, flip it over, spot weld it, and then TIG, but yeah, essentially it's all going to be TIG weld and then flattened back, and then they will act as a crush tubes for me bolting through the first mounts of the Model A. So these are the original placements, but yeah, basically I can pass a big bolt through and bolt it into the chassis. So let's get welding. So 2 side bits are done. It's time to do the cross braces. Now the rear one's dead easy, this one here, that's just going to be a piece of the same box section with 2 holes, again done the similar way, with crush tubes in just for the rear mounts, or mid mount shall I say. The front one, however, can't just go straight across, it needs to go across, up and over to clear the prop donut. But additionally, because I'm not using the BMW selector that's on the floor, I'm using this style, I need to make a structural mounting for this. Again, where the linkage underneath clears the prop donor, but also where that is bolted to the cross member. So we're going to do this cross member next. And yeah, it's probably a lot more complicated than a normal Model A because you wouldn't have all this stuff here. If you are just doing a normal floor in a Model 8, again, you won't have that there. It's just a case of this steel straight across with 2 holes in, so you just need to do the 4 holes. But yeah, don't do things by half. We've got a BMW M57 to clear, so let's get on to it. So quite a bit of the framework's done. Obviously this one needs modifying to go over the prop donor, and we're going to incorporate the gear selector in this one as well, so it's bolted to something structural as opposed to just the floor itself. So the rear one's been done, but there's a problem with that kind of B pillar. It's been welded too far in, so it needs pushing out, which is annoying. So that's something I've got to address, but that was by the previous owner. This panel's ready to weld in once obviously that B pillar's sorted. And then the rear section is not going to be put in. So on a normal Model A, you would put that in. But obviously I've got 4-link bars, as you can see. So the 4-link bars obviously need to go up and down to the suspension. So my rear one, again, kind of like the front one, is going to have a bit of a dog leg in, or I may just set it up a couple of inches higher and run it straight across. So going to leave it for tonight. It's been a long day, but yeah, hopefully we'll be cracking on tomorrow and getting a bit further with this framework.